Okay, so what we're actually going to do now, we'll actually do these little details around the edge here, because it's going to teach us something new that we haven't done as well. So if we look at them, they're like little kind of half spheres. So I'm going to get a sphere, start with the top one up here. With auto grid on, we'll be able to just do it like that. Obviously, if you look inside the model, that's going to be, well, I've already done it, but by default, it'll probably be that hemisphere will be 0. So make sure the hemisphere is 0.5, and then you only get half the circle. Probably don't need it to be quite as rounded. Get it down to about 18. And you're lowering the poly count of the model without having unnecessary detail here that you're not going to really notice. Right. So obviously we want to do them evenly spaced all around the edge here. Okay. So if we just copied them like this, it's not necessarily it's going to be awkward. It's going to take ages. It probably won't be right. So what we want to do is we want to rotate this so that they're perfectly even all the way around this circle. Okay, but if I rotate them from here, it's not going to rotate around the circle. So we need this, what's called the pivot point, essentially, like what the object rotates around. We need that pivot point to be in the middle of this circle. Okay, so it goes around the edge. So how do we do that? So over here, we're going to move over to this next tab along, which we haven't done yet. So next to the Modify tab, you've got this tab here. And you can see as an option to affect the pivot only. So if we turn that on, you can see the kind of gizmo looks a bit different. Okay, and if I move it around, you see it's moving the pivot point away from the object. Alright, so I want, again, the pivot point to be dead center. So remember how we do that? Come down here, X, 0, and Y, 0. Z can be left. Alright, so affect pivot only, turn that off again. Come back to modify. Get my rotate tool. Make sure your angle snap toggle is still on from before. And this time, so if I just rotate it, you'll see it goes perfectly around the whole thing. Very nice. So if I hold shift, remember to duplicate, drag it around, and what you want to get is 30 degrees. You could instance it if you wanted to, so if you wanted to put any detail in one of them, it would do it for all of them. I'm not going to put any extra detail into them because they're so small anyway. So copy is fine, and I think we're going to need 11 copies. If you're good at maths, you can see why. Okay, so I'm going to push OK, and you can see they've got a perfectly evenly spread number of little spheres around there. Excellent. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing for this inner one because I can just about see that there are some going around there. So I'm going to get another one. I'm going to repeat the process. So create it at the top first. And yeah, center it there. That's positioned fine. Then I'm going to go to here, affect pivot only. Make sure it's 0 in X and Y, so it's definitely bang in the middle. Turn that off. Rotate, hold down shift. 30 degrees again. 11 copies. Boom. Okay. So a nice quick way to add in all that extra detail without having to manually try and place every single one. Okay, nice. So now what we want to do is these symbols, and I think we're done. So symbols we're going to create with remember before we used the shapes, we're going to do that here. So I think I'll just create one of them, and then you'll get the idea, and then you can create the rest. So we'll do this kind of fish one. Alright, so I'm going to do it with a line. Don't need auto grid on, we can turn that off. Often it's easier to create lines in top view. I'm going to do it next to it and then place it later. It's probably easier to just make it in a blank space. So with a line, so we're going to go click, goes up to about there, click. Don't worry about making it perfect first time. Click, click, and click about there. And then when you finish, right click. Alright, so when we come to edit, remember we can just drop this down, go to vertex, move tool, and we can kind of shift these about if it's not quite how you like. A bit wider. Something like that maybe. Looks about right. Okay. Once you're happy with your shape, remember we come down to rendering here. Turn on those two boxes, so it enables it in the renderer and the viewport. If you look at that in perspective, though, it's like rounded. We don't want it to be rounded. We want it to be rectangular. Okay, it's a bit chunky, so the length will lower that down. Okay, so that's kind of our shape made. Just place it into position. But I can see where I want it to be on the shield in my top view is way too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to my scale tool up here. Make sure you're in the middle so you're scaling everything. And then just scale the whole thing down until it's about the size you want. Put it in position. And just kind of like intersect it into the shield a bit. There you go. Still a bit big, I think. My scale tool again. Just keep tweaking it until you're happy with it really with this. That's it really. Okay. It's a bit like thin. The width, yeah, width will increase that. So yeah, just a case of kind of tweaking those until you're happy with them. I might use the line tool. You can use the line tool to make all of those shapes, and then position them. And that'll be that. So just change to high quality, see how it's looking. Yeah, nice, coming on well. What I'm going to do now, I will make the others. I'll just pause and make the others. Okay, here we go. So I made the symbols. So maybe not be perfect, but you might want to spend more time on yours. Change them up if you want to, just as long as it's nothing offensive. I'm hoping that none of these mean anything. Don't think they do anyway. Anyway, so that's kind of the shield done. So now, what's going to happen is, look at everything that's here. If I start unhiding everything else, if I wanted to move this, the shield is made up of tons and tons of components. So I just wanted to move them all at the same time in unison. It's going to be a right pain. So I'm going to hide that again. So what I'm going to do is just marquee select. So click and drag and highlight everything. So I've got every part of the shield model selected. And what you can do is you can go up here to group, and you can group that as an object, and we'll call it shield. And push OK. Right, so over here you can toggle this look, and now I've just got this one thing called shield, which is everything. Okay, so now I don't need to unhide my lights. Unhide everything else in the crate there. And I can just select that, and it selects the whole thing. So nice and easy to move it. And I'm just going to prop it up against the crate that I've got already. So that's just a case of rotating and moving until it's where you want it to be. Up against there. Make sure the height is against the ground so it's not floating. So this is my left view I've just gone into. So I'm looking up here to make sure it's balanced against there and against the ground. Perfect, move it up a bit. It's actually quite a bit bigger than the one in the reference image. Really wanted, you could again just get your scale tool and you can scale down the whole thing. Maybe we'll do that. That's probably going to be too small. Just scale it and move it until you're happy, essentially. Yeah, that seems about right. Great. So I think I deleted my ground plane from before, so let's just create a new one. Just like to have a ground plane in when I'm seeing how things are going, just to help things look grounded, I suppose, when it comes to the shadows. Turn the edge faces off, high quality on. Okay. Cool. It's looking alright, so we can see all the detailing and stuff in the shield. Looks great. Obviously, things like this will stand out more when it's textured, like this one is. But we'll come to that at some point. But for now, it's all looking good.